everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to another Let's Talk Mental Health live stream. Who do we have in here this morning? I know some people are really excited for this live stream. I think that this is just kind of a time of year where a lot of things come up. I've known several people getting married. I myself am in finals. So there's been a lot going on. For some reason, I've known several people that got out of relationships as well in the last couple of weeks. So there's just a lot of energy moving around for people, a lot of change happening, which can be very difficult. If this is your first time, welcome. If you are a regular, if you've been here before, welcome back. Just as a little housekeeping, if you are having a mental health crisis, you deserve to get help. Please make sure that you're reaching out to a professional. I always list the suicide hotlines by country in the description of the video, but we are here to talk. We are here to help. We're here to listen, but make sure that you are getting the help that you deserve. We can always point you in the right direction if need be. I am not a mental health professional yet, but any of the insights, any of the thoughts, any of the things that I share with you guys here today is just based on my experiences or the experiences of people that I have interacted with. So again, please make sure that you're getting the help that you deserve. So we've got Metal Mark. Hello, David. My calendar is blank. No, I literally haven't had time to update my calendar for May. I have my paper calendar. I love that you noticed that I have my paper calendar, but I haven't had a chance to update this one. So yeah, no, it's not blank, not even a little bit, not even close. Brian, hello. Ogdog Gaming, Master Rogue, Frosty Poo, Narha, I hope I'm saying that right. I have a terrible, terrible time with names, so I apologize for that. Jake, yes. Well, no, it's not gonna be May. It is May, and yesterday was Lance Bass's birthday, so I got to celebrate that too. So a lot of in-sync energy. Bryston got so sick of hearing NSYNC on April 30th. He's just, Mom, do we have to listen to this song again? Hush! I will push you out of this car right now. So yes, lots of NSYNC. Hello, Sebastian. David, please tell me you're not serious right now. I need to know that you are not serious right now. I can't go there. So we're going to go back to the housekeeping before I put David back in the basement because he is being a heathen. He is being an uncultured swine right now. So we're going to go back to housekeeping. I wanted to give a little update on Scotty. So far, he is doing well. So Scotty is the veteran that I have been helping actually for about a decade now, but he found out that he was terminal a couple weeks ago, and the donations, the pledges from the last stream went to him. So I was able to go over and comfort him and offer him some pain relief and just some things to help with boredom and help with connection. So I did give him kind of a care package, and he was really excited about that. I've never seen him cry in the decade of knowing him, but between just helping and getting his meds and stuff for him and talking to him and listening, I made him cry the first time I ever met him, and after that I never saw him cry again until recently. And like I said, I've known him for a decade, so we were able to do that. I do have the goal again to reach 250 in pledges, so please make sure you're using that super chat, super sticker function if you want to donate to the cause. All of it's going just so I can do more outreach in my community, more mental health outreach. I actually was talking to another elderly woman that I know who is now in a care facility, and the care facility has lost some of their funding and they're not able to do as many activities and stuff. So kind of like the inpatient mental health program that I had helped get some coloring books and stuff for a few weeks ago, I am talking to the activity director to see if we can use some of the funding from our pledges and stuff here to help with the residents there, which this is kind of my area of expertise because I grew up, my mom was an activity director at a nursing home, and I grew up helping her participate in the activities and stuff. So I actually think it's kind of special that I might get to channel her love and energy like that, because I always say to people when they're struggling with grief or when they lose someone, to find ways to share that person's love and wisdom with the world. And this is a perfect opportunity for me to share my mom's love and for me to connect with her. So I'm excited about that. Also, it just gets kind of crazy in here. So the super chat, super sticker function highlights your message for me. So it will also make sure that I can see your message. But like I said, every single dime is going toward now community outreach, like closer community outreach. I also was able to cover therapy for 2 people and a month's worth of medication for a 19-year-old at my college who was really struggling because he couldn't get his antidepressants. He couldn't get a refill because his insurance was screwing them. And how many in here have dealt with that whole drama? I know there's a couple people in here that have. My dad did. So it's a really frequent thing, actually, unfortunately. David says that look was worth it so much. You know, you should probably be careful because my hitman can get there really fast. Yes, happy first week of mental health awareness month. I can't talk today. To you as well, Jake. I'm very excited. That's okay, Og Dog. We know you're here. We know you're supporting us. Just make sure that you're sharing this chat with people. That's something that would be immensely helpful, is if you guys could share this chat on social media. Just let people know that it's a mental health check-in where we just talk and share our wins and share our struggles and come together as a community. If you guys could help by sharing this on your social media Friday mornings when we do the streams, that would be really helpful. And actually, I wasn't sure whether or not I wanted to share this, but I'm going to be in Wyoming with the Bischoffs when we do the next stream. And Lori, who is a life coach, master life coach, she is going to jump on and answer some questions and give some insights and stuff as well. So you get a little bit of extra energy next time I jump on here for this live stream. So great time to share this with other people and encourage them to come check in and talk about where they're at. Good, bad, and crazy. We all get there. We all fall there sometimes. Happy Revenge of the 5th. This is the May. Okay. All right. I know that May 4th is May the 4th be with you for a lot of people. Nope, it's still just Lance Bass's birthday to me. And yes, Metal Mark. Lance Bass is 1/5 of NSYNC. First, Metal God says, hello, I love your reactions and thoughts on the music videos. I can't wait for more. There will definitely be more, I promise. Aw, thank you. Thank you, David. That's so sweet. Look at you guys having each other's backs. Yes, Eugene, we are on every other week for now. Might pick up a little bit more during the summer. Peekaboo, the annoying one, is here again. I'll show myself to the corner now. You silly goose, you're not annoying. Gina84 says, you're an amazing woman and we all support you here. Keep up the good work and have a wonderful day. I am not going to have a good day. I'm going to have a great day. That was my favorite part of Free Guy. Bryce and I watched the movie several times and now I tell myself that frequently. I'm not going to have a good day. I'm going to have a great day. I'm going to have an excellent day. So yes, you have an excellent day too. And remember that you guys are amazing too. And we're here for you as well. I'm here for all of you as well. Oh, Eugene says, I've been trying to catch you and kept missing you. I'm sorry. I know it's a little complicated. I try to post the times and stuff in the community, on the community page. So make sure, if you're subscribed, you should get those notifications. Shameless plug. If you're subscribed to the channel, you should get the notification when there's community posts and it will let you know. I usually post a couple days in advance. Sometimes I only get to it the day before, but I try to at least give 24-hour notice for streams, or at the very, very, very least, 12-hour, 13-hour notice this time. I try really hard. First Middle God says, you're such an inspiring mental health advocate. I love and appreciate all you do. Been missing these streams, but always catch the music vid reactions. Thanks for all you do. I'm glad you could finally catch us. I'm glad you could be here with us. And thank you for the love and the star power, the star energy. I'm excited. It's a full moon tonight, so I get to make my moon water. I'm excited to have my moon water in the morning. So lots of star energy and moon energy. I love it. Now I just sound like a hippie and you guys are going to think I'm crazy, but I do have a little bit of an esoteric side sometimes. I do drink my moon water every month. Headset Nation says, once a psychiatric office denied me unless I go sober. I drink light beer occasionally and smoke weed daily. I found a doctor to prescribe medication since then. I don't think it's the position of a mental health professional to put conditions on treatment. While I do think treatment is more effective when we're in a sober state of mind, a lot of people who struggle with their mental health struggle with addictions or struggle with utilizing these things to cope as a coping mechanism or sometimes to relax or whatever the case is. And I don't think it should be on the mental health professional to set conditions unless this person has been in treatment for a long time and that specific behavior seems to be really holding back their progress, in which case they still shouldn't be terminating treatment. They should be saying, okay, how can we address this behavior, this habit, this addiction? I definitely think that just dropping someone is inefficient and actually quite cruel. But yeah, it happens here too, unfortunately, more than I like to think about. Dog Gaming says, I'm doing a lot better mental health wise. I got some closure on something I've been struggling with for a long time. I feel much better. Yay, snaps, preliminary snaps, Frog Dog Gaming. Yes, closer is a good thing, David says. I always say one step in the right direction is forward movement. It's very rare that one action that we take or one thing that we do is just going to propel us from here to here. Like that doesn't happen in reality. That happens in the movies, but that's because movies have a time restraint, so they have to keep things within a certain time limit. But in the real world, that's not how healing works. That's not how this process works. Yeah, David says alcohol is a depressant. I have to avoid it when I'm in certain moods, but it's not a black and white situation, of course. Dog says, I still can't get over the coolness of live streaming. This didn't exist when I went to prison. It's so cool to see it now. Yeah, it's a fairly new concept. And I think it's really awesome too, because it allows us as the creators to really connect with the community more. And as much as I love making the videos, sometimes it just feels impersonal, even though I do read all my comments and I try to respond as much as possible, or at least show some love to each comment. It feels so much more personal when we can have a dialogue like this and you can ask me questions and I can share where I'm at and you can share where you're at. This week, my energy has been very, very up here, very high, very electrified. I've been very energetic, uh, largely because I'm going through so much transition with finals and a lot of other things that it's not that I'm per se overtly stressed. It's just that I can feel the anxiety buzzing. So I just feel like there's a lot of energy trapped in there that needs to get out. So I'm probably actually going to go for a run after this. I won laser hair removal. So apparently I'm going to go to a spa this afternoon and get the first session of that done. So maybe I should video that and put that in one of the stories just to see what people think while I'm screaming bloody blue homicide. But I'm really trying to check into what can I do for myself right now to make sure that I'm staying sane. So I will say, as much as I'm not really resonating with statistics, and praise be, we only have one more statistics class. It's the final, so it's a doozy, but one more statistics class and I'm done. So I don't think it would be feasibly possible for me to fail the class at this point, but I think that anything less than a B would make me really sad. I really want to keep my A because right now I have a 4.0 throughout my classes. I passed the sociology CLEP on Monday, so there's 3 more credits toward my bachelor's, toward my degree. So I will graduate at the end of summer. I'm a little bummed because I missed the cutoff for the graduation ceremony. So now I have to wait till next May to get my graduation ceremony for my associates, even though I finished at the end of this May or at the end of this summer. I have to wait till next May to get it, which is kind of a bummer because I'll be halfway through my bachelor's at that point. So it's kind of weird. Metalmark says, cool, a full moon tonight. I get to go out tonight and howl. We should all howl. That should be a thing. Every full moon, our little wolf pack should just ow to full moon. And then we'll all know that we're there with each other. Wouldn't it be cool if we were outside and we could hear other people howling so we knew? What if the community got so big that that became a thing, that once a month on the full moon, we would go outside and we would howl and then we could hear other people, nearby howling because there were just so many community members out and about. That would be cool. The dreams I have. David live streaming. I still remember the buzzing sound as I wait for dial-up to connect. Oh, good grief. The nightmares. Rurikar says, did something the other day that would have caused a full-on panic attack only a few years ago. I was still anxious, but did it anyway, and it went fine. Just wanted to share my win of the week. Sounds like we need to get into our snaps. So snaps for Rurikar. We will get into our snaps. We don't have a whole lot this week. So if you want to post your snaps here in the chat, I will read those and add those as well and make sure to get snaps. So open opportunity to post your snaps here in the chat. Consider using the super chat, super sticker function just so I can make sure to see them. I don't want to miss anybody. But with that being said, let's sing the Snap Cup song. So it's Snap Cup time, gather you round. Friends and foes together, united and bound. Pass it to your neighbor instead of blowing up, and you'll find harmony and love in a Snap Cup. All righty, thank you, Erin. Thank you, dear. All right. So I'll start with these, and then I'll try and read the ones in the chat in the community here. So we're going to start. Jake Smith, are you stay up? You're still in here. I created a bookshelf for myself. What is it with bookshelves this week? You're the fourth person I've known that's put up a bookshelf this week. I created a bookshelf for myself as a quick project. It will hopefully help me start getting a bit organized. I also cut back on eating out to save money. It has been on and off issue, but I hope to finally be on track with that. Snaps to you for taking 2 steps in the right direction. Actually, that's a lot of steps in the right direction for organizing your mind. You know, people don't realize that when your outer world is cluttered, and that's why this is one of the steps in my happiness boost course is cut the crap, because when your outer world is cluttered, it affects your mental health. I made a video. David, can you share that? I made a video a while back about how your house can affect your mental health, like how your surroundings can affect your mental health. So I'm glad you brought that up. I think that's amazing. I love my bookshelves. I'm not big on purchasing new furniture or anything, but a few years ago, I really wanted the Billies from IKEA, and they kept selling out of them. They didn't have them, and I literally got put on a wait list, my friends, for a freaking shelf. But I love them so much. They bring together my den area, and I have my different masks from Majora's Mask on there, as well as some other keepsakes that really just make me happy to look at. So I will be happy when I can add another mask to that in the near future. But I'm curious as to what you're going to put on your bookshelf, Jake. What are you going to put on there to remind you of how far you've come, remind you of how amazing you are? What are you going to put on there? My favorite thing actually is Majora's Mask itself, because I had the idea that I was going to collect the different masks for different accomplishments I made, right? So that was my goal. And one of my close friends who I love so dearly ended up getting me Majora's Mask and said, you've already accomplished the biggest thing in surviving and in going into recovery. So I think that you should get this mask to start with instead of at the end. And of course, I'm ugly crying. I'm not a pretty crier, as you guys have seen through my videos. So I was just ugly crying. It really meant a lot to me. But every time I see that, that's what I think about. And then I can look at the other masks and think of the other things that I've accomplished. And the eating out, oh my gosh, I know it's hard. I know it is. I hate to cook. I hate it so much. It's just the bane of my existence. Not particularly breakfast and lunch. That's not so bad. But when it gets to dinner, I'm just done. I put all my energy into the day. I'm done. So I know the allure of eating out. And I will say, I do feel a difference when I cut that out physically and mentally. I feel less brain fog. I know there's probably less inflammation going on. But yeah, it's so ludicrously expensive these days. There isn't a dollar menu anymore. There probably isn't even a $5 menu anymore. I don't go to fast food. Probably isn't even a $5 menu anymore. But big snaps to you, Jake Smith. I love it. Alrighty. Oh, we still have to do our good news too, by the way. Mike Slodian says, having a good job that acknowledges me and lets me have almost pure autonomy. I work in a kitchen, basically. I'm a head chef now. It took almost 6 years to get here. I do love my job. Just some people, haha. Oh, I do know. I do know how some people go. But big snaps to you. I think that that's amazing. I will never have a job ever again that does not allow me to have a high level of autonomy. I have to have some level of control. I don't I don't want to be under someone else's thumb, especially if that person is trying to push me into the ground, which was the case at my yoga job. I don't know if I told you guys, I got fired from my yoga job. I think I did. I think I mentioned that on my last stream. And it was very difficult because there's the part of me that is sitting there ruminating of, oh my gosh, I messed up. This is so embarrassing. But then there's a part of me thinking, wow, I just got released from something that wasn't serving me. So it was a really nice thing. But I'm very glad that you realize the value of having a job that allows you to have the autonomy and that acknowledges you, because you deserve that. Guys, we really deserve that in our jobs. But if we're not getting that from our employer, make sure that you're getting it to yourself. Make sure that you're acknowledging how good you're doing. Even if things aren't perfect, they don't have to be perfect. When you're putting in hard work and you're slaying the projects, or maybe you're just making progress on the projects, you deserve your own snaps. So whenever you do something, hear me in your head giving you snaps. Big snaps. Big snaps. Uh-oh. Did we already? Oh, there was two together. It's like I thought there were at least four. Seth Destroyer says, this week I was able to sit down, focus, write, play, and record music for the first time in over a year. Big snaps to you. I wish that I knew what that felt like. I really wish that I could play music or sing or paint, that I had some kind of artistic talent like that, because I can't imagine that it's very therapeutic to just get in that flow. I do like to write, but it's hard for me to get into a flow with writing oftentimes because I'm so self-critical. But I was going to say earlier when I was talking about stats is, as much as I don't resonate with that class, it has really helped me be mindful. It's probably the most mindful class I've had in all of my classes, because when you're sitting there trying to figure out the formula for a one-way ANOVA, yeah, you're not going to be thinking about all your problems. So it's much like when I was learning French, because I mean, statistics is very much its own language. The APA formatting and stuff is very much its own language. It forces you to be really mindful. But I'm glad that you had time to do that for yourself, and hopefully just get out some of that energy and help the energy flow a little more freely. Skull Crusher says, staying cool in hot weather, going for a swim. It's very relaxing, and having a cold soda as I'm poolside. I'm kind of a weenie because I don't like to go out until it hits triple digits into the pool. So when you got to see me on the story a few weeks ago, that was absolutely just crushing for me, because I usually won't go in the pool until it's well over 100 degrees outside. But I know that it can be very helpful for some people. I don't know where you're at. Maybe it's hotter than it is here, because it's still actually fairly reasonable, but we hit triple digits next week and it's not going to come back down for a while. But I'm glad that you can enjoy that time, that you get to be mindful, that you get to relax. It's so important just to take time to relax. I'm not a soda person. I haven't drank soda in 13 years, but I know that is a cultural thing for a lot of people still, and I'll be waiting for you on the other side when you decide to kick it. But for now, cheers right back. So that is the snaps from the cup, but let's see how many snaps we have here. Let's see. Funny you mentioned that. The fans of Love Bites are called the Wolf Pack. Yeah, mine are my wolves too. You guys are my pack too. But the wolf has always been my spirit animal, so I promise I didn't steal that from Love Bites. Casca says, speaking of books, waiting on a book from Youngi Mingyur Rinpoche, which is about meditation, titled Joy of Living. Sounds very enlightening. Let's see. Oh, Eugene says, my daughter got approved for a grant to go to college. Snaps for Eugene's daughter. There's a good snap. Oh, Jake says he's going to put video games, DVDs, pictures of my girlfriend, and bestie on his bookshelf. Amazing. Love it. Oh, all dogs got to go. Bye. Mwah. We'll see you later. Let's go play video games with his nephew. I hope you have fun. Narha, I really hope I'm saying that right. Correct me if I'm not. Says, like, I don't know why, but I just feel like I'm not really good at being human. I say that all the time. I know that XYZ should be a simple process, and for a lot of people, it at least appears to be a simple process, but it's not a simple process for me, and I feel like I can't human and I can't adult. So I say those exact words frequently. Don't worry, you're not alone. I don't think any of us really know how to do it. We're just kind of winging it, and some people are more graceful while they're winging it than others. Rukar says, I started a household account book about 6 months ago and it actually helped me quite a bit to remove unnecessary expenses. Big snaps for that. I love it. Yeah, I have to track my expenses and stuff. Number one, because I can't overdraw my account. I have to be careful. But number two, because I do have an impulsive personality. It's one of the big traits of living with borderline personality disorder is that impulsive personality. So if I'm not careful, I can overdraw my account. I remember back in 2015 when I was having this, oh my God, I'm getting so old and I haven't accomplished the things I want to accomplish mindset. I remember seeing that Joey Fatone, and nobody in this chat better ask who Joey Fatone is. Google it if you have to, but I saw that Joey Fatone was doing a Broadway show in Vegas, like a show in Vegas. And the minute I saw it, I bought the tickets for the show without even checking my account. And I was not in a good place financially at all, but I just went, oh, I have to do this. I have to meet Joey. I can't turn this down, especially right now, because I was putting out that energy of wanting to, meet some of my childhood heroes and stuff. And I really overshot with that in a very, very good way. I overshot with that, but I did get to meet him. I've actually met him twice now. It was very amazing. David said, I actually hate eating out. I love cooking my food. It's the dishes I hate. Well, maybe I should let you out of the basement and you can just come here. I love how there's a mixed feeling here about cooking, dishes. I hate dishes. I don't like cooking or doing dishes. I just really don't enjoy it. I feel like I could eat so clean if food just appeared, because I love healthy food, but I don't love the time it takes to often prepare things that fill me up. Like I can cook healthy, I can eat healthy food, but I feel like it's sometimes challenging to feel full afterward. But I'm doing better. I'm doing a lot better. Oh gosh, Eugene says I was actually in a stats class when I had dropped school for medical reasons. I was 1 year out from my bachelor's. It's never too late to go back. I'm going back, and I'm no spring chicken. Let's see. Oh. Ricard says, saw a picture the other day of someone sleeping outside and her hand was a book titled Sleep Well. It's actually really poetic. Oh, and Metal Marks is my grandson's accepted to Utica University in New York. Snaps for Metal Marks' grandson. Christian Anderson says, apparently there's a long lag on my feed, but if anyone wants help with stats, that's my jam. Why didn't you tell me that 4 months ago? Because now I'm going into my final, all right? So now, yes. Yes, David Gaps. Joey Fatone is in my big fat Greek wedding. I can't with you. I can't with you sometimes. Oh, Christian says, good for you going back to school. I'm writing the last chapter of my dissertation at age 42 right now. Huge snaps for that. That's amazing. I'm very proud of you for that. David, Amanda hurts me when she claims to be old. I'm about 10 years older. So what am I then? A fossil? An uncultured fossil who doesn't know who Joey Fatone or Lance Bass are. Bye, Nara. Mwah. 4 months is quite the lag. Oh my gosh, you're watching me instead of working on your dissertation. Get back to work. No, actually, take a break. Take a break. You'll get some motivation, good energy here. I do, before we go on, want to share our good news, by the way. I did find a good news article. I love sharing good news articles. So let's see. The one for today says, won't you be my neighbor? How porch culture fights loneliness. Lyda and Mark Simpson stood on the steps of their porch with friends while the blues rock band Red Medicine plays in a yard across the street. People crowd all four corners of the intersection, dancing and chatting. It's Porch Fest in Petworth, a neighborhood of Washington, D.C. Some 100 performers will play on porches and yards throughout the day. A new group of people walks up, searching for space with a view of the band. Sit, sit, says Miss Simpson with a big smile, gesturing toward the wall at the end of the yard. The Simpsons, who have a 4-year-old and 6-year-old, chose Petworth because it's walkable, close to restaurants and playgrounds and public transit, and still has a neighborhood feeling. When they first moved in 8 years ago, Miss Simpson says she hoped for an active front porch culture, but it didn't quite coalesce until people began socializing from their yards in 2020. Happily, says Miss Simpson, porch and stoop culture restarted during the pandemic, and it stayed around. This week, the U.S. Surgeon General declared an epidemic of loneliness and isolation, saying that 1 in 2 adults reported experiencing loneliness even before the pandemic. At a time when neighborliness is decreasing and Americans are growing further apart, some, like The Simpsons, are intentionally building relationships within their communities. And events like Porch Fest are growing in popularity. Central to a culture of neighborliness, many say, are front porches. I think this is amazing, especially in big cities like New York, where they have stoop sales, because it's just it's so difficult to connect with your neighbors. It's so busy, it's so bustly, but I feel like in this generation, neighborly goodness and kindness and love has kind of fallen to the wayside. It's not as prevalent. When I grew up, it was very prevalent. I knew all my neighbors. I was very close with my neighbors. I didn't know any of my neighbors until a few months ago, when I ended up. I see you, David. I'll jump right in. I had some extra donuts when Aaron moved in. He had bought donuts for his coworkers to help him, and we had extra donuts. And I don't eat donuts, and he didn't want to eat the donuts. So I said, you know what? Let's turn this into an act of kindness. And I started going around the neighborhood and just seeing who wanted a donut and sharing donuts with my neighbors. And I ended up making friends with a woman down the street who has 5 kids, I believe. And we just go on walks once or twice a month now and talk and catch up. And it's been really nice. But I think that neighborly love really does help with loneliness and isolation. A lot of people think that if they're single, they're lonely, and you don't have to be. You can be very empowered. You can be very connected still. But I do understand that loneliness can set in when we don't have someone to connect with. And I think that I just think that we need to remember that someone to connect with isn't always, sorry, Ricky wanted my attention, isn't always a romantic venture, you know. Thank you, David. And yes, fossils rule, because they last, you know, and they're going to endure. Metalmark 12 says, I'm probably older than David. I was around on the team engineer the wheel. Christian says, age is a linearly increasing function of time. Trust me, I'm procrastinating a thesis. What is your thesis about? I'm curious what your dissertation's about. So I did a final. I had a final. I had to do 2 research projects. One for my comp class, where I ended up doing my project on lifestyle and mental health, and how nutrition and physical activity specifically can be as effective as therapy. So that was my research paper for English. And then I had to do experimental research for my research manuscript. And that one was the correlation between, or the relationship between, political media and mental health, and debating whether or not to do a video discussing my findings, because it's actually incredibly interesting, something that I didn't expect even. I knew that there'd be a correlation. I didn't know how significant it would be, but it ended up actually being so significant that I have to do a presentation. I have to show you guys, because the bar graph is, after viewing political media, is like this, but when they abstain for 10 days, it drops to about 50%. So their depression symptoms dropped by about 50%. But the thing that surprised me the most was it didn't matter, because half of the participants of this study viewed political media that aligned with their beliefs, and half viewed political media that opposed their beliefs. And it didn't matter if it opposed or aligned with your beliefs across the board. It really really exacerbated psychological symptoms. So it didn't really matter if it was what they believed, it was things they agreed with or not. There was still a very high level of emotional contagion. So there was another study that was done about how there's emotional contagion going on when we watch the news. Because when you see these people angry, political news specifically, when you see these people angry, it makes you angry. Even if you weren't initially angry, even if you don't care about the specific topic they're talking about, it will incite anger, and it plays into that emotional contagion. So I thought that was super interesting. Socializing neighborhoods are the best. We started a garden, and the only place we get sun is between the sidewalk and the street. So we met everyone in the neighborhood with a dog in the spring. I loved it. David says there are places in Europe where they do community gardens to help people get outside and socialize. I wish they do that more here. I think that we could really do. A lot with that, and then use the food for the homeless shelters and stuff. Because one thing that really frustrates me is when they do food boxes or when they do these shelters and whatnot, the food is always absolute garbage. It's always this really unhealthy processed stuff that now is going to end up causing future medical problems for people that can't afford to deal with them. And I think that that's really unfair. And I mean, food is food, and I'm grateful that these people get fed. And I think that these programs are a great start. But if we're feeding them just processed food with a bunch of chemicals, and it's causing inflammation, and it's going to cause heart disease and diabetes and stroke and all these things, creating bigger problems, we're not solving the problem as a whole. We're not looking at the picture as a whole. And I think that that definitely needs to shift. So I think community gardens could be a great step in the right direction with that. Christian asks, what's a comp class? Composition. Could be comparative lit or computer science, but you did something else. Yes. I don't know that I think I did take a comparative lit class way back when. But no, I had to take one basic computer class, and that's the only computer class I will be taking as part of this degree. There's no other required computer classes, and it's not my cup of tea. I don't think I'd really have a lot. Oh, Eugene says I'm lagging. Am I lagging as in I'm glitchy, or is there just a time lag that you guys aren't seeing or aren't hearing me talk for a while? What kind of lagging? Metal Mark says, even though I got a degree in engineering, my sociology and intro to psychology classes were interesting. Humanities and social science class requirement. Yeah, I had to take them too. And I loved my Psych 101 class. Sociology was pretty interesting too, but I love Psych 101. Oh no. Oh gosh. Apparently I'm fuzzy. I don't look fuzzy to me. It's random. That's frustrating. I'm sorry. I don't know why that's happening, because I'm looking at myself and I don't seem fuzzy. Fuzzy wuzzy. I guess I'm just a fuzzball. I guess I'm just a glitchy fuzzball. My internet connection has been really weird for the past week. Metal Mark says, I thought my sight was going out on that age. Oh gosh, you guys are silly gooses. Silly gooses. I forgot my water again. Oh well, I'll get a good drink after this. I have a really bad habit of forgetting to drink water and then just trying to drink it all in the middle of the day. So I'll just drink a whole entire big bottle of water in the middle of the day and then have to pee for the entire afternoon. David says, I loved cultural anthropology. I find grocery stores in different countries fascinating, seeing the differences. Actually, I think that's really interesting too. Wow, I've just felt my energy completely shift. I had some very stressful things I had to deal with in the last couple days. Actually, right before this call, I had a stressful Zoom call that I had to deal with, and I just felt my energy completely shift. I like that. I needed that. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe my energy is just projecting so strongly that it's blurring me. Well, thank you. I really enjoy all of your material. Thank you. Rokar says, I never studied at university but work at one and help keep the tech running that enables others to study. How poetic. I don't think we need to go to university to learn per se. I taught myself a language and never took a formal class. Well, I did end up taking a couple formal classes kind of for fun when I was in Montpellier, but I already speak at an upper intermediate level at that point when I went. So I had already taught myself. I did talk with natives on italki and stuff at some point, so I guess you could kind of consider that a class, but I taught myself and then they kind of guided me and cleaned up my grammar like that. Jonathan Rogers says, have you ever heard of doll therapy? I cannot say that I have unless you're talking about I know with children they can use dolls as a way for them to express things. So through the play therapy, they can extract a lot as far as where their mental state is, how their home life is going, how they socialize, things like that. So if that's what you're referring to, yes, but I've never heard of it called doll therapy. If it says Amanda's death glares at me, broke the camera, yeah, so maybe you should culture yourself a little bit. I would think after all those hours driving between here and Albuquerque, listening to NSYNC, you could name the members of the band by now. Oh, goodness. Eugene's talking about all his different degrees. I love it. David says, I know those old dolls with porcelain heads freak me out. You know what freaked me out are mannequins. Mannequins just creep me out so bad. I'm having nightmares about them when I was a kid. And they're still, even as an adult, especially now because most of them don't have faces, so it's almost even worse that way. Rukar says, I did a 3-year apprenticeship to learn, and it enabled me to get the job, so it all worked out. That's cool. College for 8 years and no degrees. You know, I know we live in this meritocracy where our worth is almost determined by a piece of paper, but I think it's determined by the knowledge and wisdom that we acquire. The reason I didn't jump from the car was you keeping the door or from the car was you keeping the door locked. Oh, darling, darling, darling. Boyd says, words are important to relationships. Words are meaningless without someone caring. No such as hate speech. I'm not sure I understand. Jake says, mannequins are something I feel like I see in Silent Hill. It does have that vibe. Casca faces mannequin. Now I have a place to put my smiley stickers. No smiles. No smiles, no smileys. Nope. No thank you. David says, I love that the mannequins in Europe have no faces but do have nipples. There's some mannequins here that have nipples. I've seen mannequins that have nipples. I was on the 5-year plan for my bachelor's degree, but I graduated magna cum laude, I think. Oh, so we have about 15 minutes left. Is there anything that you guys think we should cover, or anything you want to ask, or any weird pledges that you want to do today? Speaking of these sororities and fraternities and stuff, you want me to pledge? I might need to pledge today. Yeah, Eugene's right. College is ultimately about networking and broadening your horizons. I think that you do accumulate a lot of knowledge while you're there, and a lot of wisdom and a lot of experience. But I think for the most part, it's kind of sad because you could teach yourself a good deal of this. And that's why I'm really grateful for the CLEP exams, actually, because I CLEPed out of 4 years of French. If I would have had to take French classes, I would have been irritated. If I would have had to take another language, I would have been kind of irritated because I already know another language fluently enough to be able to communicate with natives and get around and express myself and ask directions and talk with the French police. So I was grateful because I tested out 4 years of French. So I technically right there tested out in 1 hour of a full semester of college. And then I tested out of pre-calc, Psych 101, sociology. I keep feeling like there's one other one, but so I pretty much tested out of 2 full semesters of college. And I was very appreciative for that, 'cause it kind of helps me catch up a little, considering my life was just on hold for a very long time, and now I'm reclaiming it. And there's that voice in the back of my head. There's my shadow going, "It's too late. You're too old." Blah blah blah. All these limiting beliefs. But I've really enjoyed having this opportunity, and I just feel the excitement building for that stats final to be over, and for me to have done something that I thought was impossible, and for me to have overcome all the challenges of this semester, especially with that class. I'll be very happy. I'm gonna get an A. I have to get an A at this point. I have to get an A at this point. Master Rogue says, "I went to the doctor the other day. All he did was bite my neck and suck my blood. That's the last time I go to see Dr. Acula." Oh, I needed a joke today. Thanks for that. Oh, gosh. Jonathan Rogers said, "You should not have a fear of inanimate objects. I have a fear of open waters." It's really weird. I don't think I'm particularly scared of mannequins in the sense that I would avoid them or anything like that. They're just very unsettling to me. My fears are spiders and death and things like that. I have pretty rational actual fears, but let's see. Soler Avastora says, "Hi, I'm 19. I'm on my graduate year in senior high school, and suddenly I'm having some sort of existential crisis. Most of my colleagues know what profession they would want, but I'm still unsure. Honey, I am 38 years old. I just figured out what profession I want." I think that there's this huge pressure, especially for our youth, to decide right off the bat and know exactly what they're going to do and jump right into college, like right after high school. And that works for some people. It really does. But I know people like myself, I just gave away my age. I know people like myself that that it takes them a long time to figure out what they want, or they do something and they realize that's not really for me, and they change careers. Some people take a year abroad, some people just take some time to explore themselves, and that is completely okay. It really doesn't matter what your colleagues are doing or whether they seem to have their stuff together, because spoiler alert, they don't. None of us do. But if there's something you need to do to explore options or to explore your passion, that is a-okay. And if you're feeling like you need to be making progress, you could always just take some of the prereq classes that are going to be required regardless of your degree. So you can start taking the language classes or just the basic math and English and prereq classes like that, and work toward those in the beginning of pursuing your degree until you can kind of get a feel of what you like, what you don't like. 19 years old is not a time where we should know everything and know what we want to be and know what we want to do, because decades later, a lot of us still aren't quite sure. I think I'm on the right path. But even if you do decide on something and it doesn't work out, it's completely okay for you to say, "You know what? I gave that a shot and it really just wasn't right for me." That doesn't mean I made the wrong decision, because you learn a lot from it. But you can reflect and say, what did that offer me? What did that do for me? What did that infuse me with to help me move toward the next step of my life? So life is not on this timeline that we have to follow. It's not like we have to graduate high school and then go to college and then get married and then have a baby or 7 babies or whatever the case is, and then do this and that. We don't have to live on this social clock. I know that there's this social clock, but we don't have to be part of it. We don't have to adhere to it. Metal Marks, what do you think today is the biggest source of anxiety for the general population? Just the first thing that comes to my mind without really reflecting, I think, is this comparison that we do because of social media, because we're so indoctrinated. We're so connected all the time. We're constantly looking at other people. I think that the fact that we're either looking at news that is meant to stir up our emotions, or we're looking at other people's lives all the time and comparing ourselves to them all the time, for better, for worse, I think that creates a lot of anxiety, because it makes us feel like we're not good enough. It makes us feel like we're constantly missing out. We have this sense of FOMO that, well, that person is in Europe, or that person's having a baby, or that person's getting married, or that person's doing this or that. And number one, we're comparing our behind the scenes to their highlight reels. But we're also focusing on all that we don't have instead of being grateful for what we do have. And that's something that I think social media has brought about. And I think that our relationship with technology is really what's bringing about the most anxiety in this particular time. David says, I didn't get my age correct. You're right. I didn't. I did not. Yeah, Eugene said that's why I told my daughter just get started with her associates in general studies. Christian says, I know one person over 40 who has a job in the field they got their undergrad degree in. Casca says, I'm 47 and still have no clear idea where to go or what to do, but I do know what I kind of enjoy doing. So that is the direction where I'm going. Here's the thing is I don't think I actually started to learn about myself until I was until my 30s, right? Because I had always let my life be dictated by relationships, by the people that weren't in my life anymore, like friends I lost or losing my parents or these things that I didn't have. And living with BPD, I already had a rocky sense of identity. But when I was in my 30s and I was starting to detach from these toxic relationships, I was starting to really come into my own, set boundaries, stand up for myself, and explore a little bit more, is when I really started figuring out this is what makes me happy. This is what lights my soul on fire. This is what brings me joy. I didn't have joy through my 20s pretty much. My 20s were just an absolute nightmare. And there were times like having Bryston, my son, things like that. There were definitely moments, but it wasn't like I was happy overall. I had happy moments, but I wasn't happy overall. And now I will actually challenge you because this is something that really helped me with my kind of identity crisis through my BPD symptoms. Was I made a list of 50 things about myself. That was a goal for me with my BPD, was making a list of 50 things, 50 facts about myself. And I was actually inspired to do this because I was really into Matthew Santoro videos for a long time, and he'd do the 50 random facts or things like that. But I was at a point when I was watching those videos that I was just constantly feeling so detached. I had no idea who I was. And I said, you know what? I don't feel like I know that much about myself. So I'm going to make it a goal to write 50 things about myself. And I put this in my journal and I would just write things down as I thought about them. And some of it was just random facts. Like I really love Chihuahuas. Chihuahuas are my favorite dog. Love Chihuahuas. Some of it was beliefs that I hold dear. And I don't want to start a debate, so I won't go into those, but some of them were beliefs that I hold dear. Some of the things were just, this is my favorite song. This is what I enjoy doing. This is what I think about XYZ. This is my opinion on XYZ. So just writing down my favorite things, the things I enjoy, my opinions, my beliefs, it helped me create this almost caricature of myself. And then I said, oh, okay, so this is kind of who I am, you know. And I was brutally honest. I was really truly honest in including some of the things that weren't super flattering or some of the traits that I have that aren't ideal, you know, or some of the beliefs that I have that aren't ideal. My Dexter complex, for example, that I love all people. And I think, in a way, in my own weird, twisted way, I love all people. And I do think that everyone has potential. And I think that anyone can heal. And I don't think anyone's a lost cause. But at the same time, I don't think that every person inherently has a right to life. And that's a belief I hold dear. I have the Dexter complex that not everyone deserves to have a second, third, fourth, fifth chance at life. And that was one of the things I wrote down about myself. So I encourage you to kind of just explore the things you like and maybe see what starts coming to you through that. Eugene says, you know how many jobs and career changes I've had before I was 40? I think it's way more common than we think. There says, thank you for the words and guidance. I agree that it takes time. Currently, what's offered to me was biomedical engineering, and it's taking a toll on where I want to be 4 years, or where I want to waste 4 years of my life. Yeah. If you feel like you're wasting 4 years, that's not the career for you. I'm actually really excited for, it's not going to be 4 years because I tested out of quite a bit. So I should have my bachelor's let's see, I decided to go back to school last fall. So I think it was October. I will have my associates by the end of summer. And then I should have my bachelor's in about a year. So it'll be about 2.5 years total of school. But I'm actually so looking forward to it. So if it's not something you look forward to, other than a few classes, I mean, I don't go into stats class skipping and whistling, but if it's not something that you look forward to, that you like doing, that you enjoy learning about, I don't think it's the right career. That's David says Americans spend more time on internet looking up their symptoms on WebMD or social media or quick fix videos. Yeah, I actually fell into that. I realized that I continuously kept looking up videos about insomnia instead of going to do things that would help with my insomnia, or looking up things about anxiety instead of engaging in activities that I knew would help with my anxiety. Why do we do that? Because we are looking for a quick fix, and there's no quick fix. I hate to break it to you. Void says, why are beings at age of curiosity and pure inspiration told to sit down and take these tests? I don't think that standardized testing is particularly effective. It forces people to shovel this into their heads really fast, and they've forgotten it by the time they walk out the door of the test oftentimes. I do think that testing can be implemented, but I think that there has to be other foundations for that. So we are at 70 in donations of our 250 goal. Like I said, I really want to be able to help with the nursing home and help the elderly patients there. They're not really patients, residents there. Sorry, the elderly residents there be able to have just more activities to do, things to do to stimulate their mental health. It's very hard here in Arizona too, because they can't really go outside on the patio or have outdoor activities. And I know that's limited in these sorts of homes, but it's very difficult. So then they wind up with vitamin D deficiencies. So I was thinking about actually getting some of the the lamps for them if there are residents who are struggling that can't get outside at all, or just maybe some of them in general here in the Arizona summer, or maybe getting some of those lamps for the central social area. I know that place has kind of a central social area, and I think that that would be cool to put some of those lamps in there just to make sure that they're not succumbing to vitamin D deficiency. So if you can make a pledge, we still have that goal. Just wanted to check in since we have about 5 minutes left and let you guys know where we're at. David says, as a kid, I wanted to be in Indiana Jones. I still want to be Indiana Jones. You want to be in a crappy 80s, 90s movie? Oh, I just had to. Aaron, I'm sorry. I know you're listening too, but I just had to because he dissed my lamps. Jonathan says, what is your opinion on being the black sheep of the family? I've been the black sheep and my family has let me know it. I've always been the black sheep. I was disowned by half my family. The only family I really had were my parents. I kind of had my grandparents growing up, but I was never particularly close to any of my family but my parents. I have one aunt that I still talk to and her son, my cousin, but I've always been the black sheep. And as a kid, it really hurt. When I was younger, it really hurt. When my parents died, it really hurt. But now I think to myself, you know what? That's fine. that's fine, because we are placed in a family that we don't get to choose, right? We get to choose our friends. We get to choose the people that are in our lives. We don't get to choose our family. And sometimes I think that it's not that we're misplaced in a family, but we're placed in a family that doesn't resonate with our ideals, that doesn't resonate with our needs, that doesn't resonate with our personality. And doesn't really have to. There's no law that says we have to get along with our family, or we have to fit in, or we have to conform to appease them. There's nothing that says that. And I'm a big proponent now, as someone who lost my parents, my only real family, in my early 20s. So now, other than my son and this aunt and cousin that I talk to occasionally, I really don't have any family, but I created my own. I created my own through my childhood best friends. I created my own through you guys. I created my own through connecting with people and acts of kindness and things like that. I actually also, in my outreach in the coming weeks, I wanted to help because there was a girl in my research class who she had had a miscarriage and she was really struggling with it. She had said something about it during class, but she was really struggling with it. And I told her about my experience, and she had a pap smear last week, her first one since the miscarriage, and she was really emotionally struggling with it. And I just wanted to be able to, give her something to help her through this time and this process and help support her and know that somebody was there. So that was also something that I wanted to do. Thank you, David and Christian. Thank you. David says, can you take doggies to the care home? That is a big help for seniors. Yeah, I was going to ask if I can take Ricky. Most of them allow it as long as they're vaccinated. Ricky's vaccinated. I don't know how much he like old people, though. I used to take Cairo, my Chihuahua. My dad would take his iguana, and they were super excited about that. The seniors would get very excited. They'd ask a lot of questions. She would just sit on my dad's shoulder or crawl around his neck and nod her head and kind of nuzzle them, and sometimes stick out her tongue and lick their fingers, and they would get very energized about that. Thank you guys so much for the pledges. Let me add that to our total there. Let's see. Going back, want to make sure. Yeah, David says I'm the proud black sheep of my family. Casca said, I've been living alone with my dogs for over 21 years. I enjoy my alone time. To many people around me, it can be too much for me. Socialize when I walk my wolf dogs, which does get attention from some folks. Yeah, I am the same way. I can socialize, but I need to be able to disengage when I need to disengage. So I can be social, I can be extroverted, but when I'm done, I'm done. When my energy is depleted, I'm done, and I have to get out of that situation. Metal Mark says, I guess the most important thing is, can we look at ourselves and truly say to thine own self be true and not worry about how others compare? Christian says, do you have any advice on dealing with pre-grief? I have a loved one who will not be with us next year, but is very present still, which makes things complicated. I'm actually dealing with Scotty, that he's a close friend of mine, and we now know that he's not going to last much longer. And I thought out the things that I wanted to say to him, that I knew I needed to say to him. So that was a big part of it is, okay, with my parents, I had a lot of regret for the things I didn't get to say, for the things I didn't get to ask, for the stories that I'll never hear. So I made sure before I went over there the last time, it won't be the last time, hopefully, but the most recent time, I just had kind of a mental list of the things I wanted to say and the things I wanted to ask. And Bryson went with me, and he was really adamant about saying, you've been like an uncle figure to me. He wanted to tell him that. And again, Scotty started crying. He felt really, really touched by that. So thinking what you want them to leave with, what message you want them to leave with, what terms do you guys want to part on? What do you want to know? I think that there's a little bit of a beauty in pre-grief because we don't always get that luxury. I didn't get that with my parents. And I mean, death and grief is never easy, but if you have to choose, I would rather choose knowing, so that way I could have that insight to think, what do I want to tell them? What do I want to ask? And my mom was very, very angry at my dad because we realized that he knew he was going to die and he didn't tell us. And I was angry, but not nearly as angry as my mom. My mom was just full blown pissed because she said that he robbed me of that opportunity to be able to genuinely say goodbye on my own terms and be able to be there with him on my terms. And I said, but here's the thing, it's not about your terms, it's about his. And that's how he wanted to go. He didn't want the last days of his life to be us hovering around him like vultures, But yeah, I really highly just suggest reflecting on what you want to know, if there's stories you want to hear about, but also what you want to say and what you want them to know in return. Yes, David, helping seniors homes. Jonathan says, my own father beat me as a child. He's a waste of a man. I'm so vehemently opposed to child abuse, and I've seen the results of it. But I also think that it's really a form of bullying. And I think the solution, yes, of course, we need to be getting children out of these situations. We need to be having stronger CPS systems, child protective systems, things like that. But we also need to be addressing the mental health of people, because people who are going to beat their child clearly are not in a healthy mental state. And if those things would get addressed, if their anger issues would get addressed, if they learn skills to cope with things, if somebody listened to them and thought why and listened to why they have such intense emotions, I think that we could do a lot in that sense as well. Because yeah, it's horrible. You didn't deserve that. You are totally worthy of love. You never deserve to be hurt like that, and to experience that. I remember when I did my interview with Sean Kanan, and he was saying there's always two sides to bullying. There is the person who is bullying, who's also a victim, because either they were bullied and they're just repeating this behavior, or they are hurting so bad that they don't know how else to get that energy out. It's wrong. It's very wrong. Bullying is wrong. Abuse is wrong. But I do think we need to address why it's happening, so that we can work on prevention for it. I think that would be very helpful. But I'm sorry that you went through that. And I hope that you are learning now how worthy and lovable you are. David said, crappy 80s movies don't disparage Romancing the Stone or Princess Bride. Because I don't want my boyfriend to leave me today, I won't even respond to that comment. I don't know anything about Romancing the Stone. There is going to be another Harrison Ford Indiana Jones movie, Metal Mark. Harrison Ford in a wheelchair being chased. Oh, God. Bye, Jonathan. David said, I worked here at the zoo in Portland. They have a program of small animals they take to senior homes: hedgehogs, rabbits, armadillos, prairie dogs. I think that would be sweet. I would like that. I think they would like that. Christian says, I guess that's the problem. They don't want every conversation to be the conversation. I get that, but that has to happen at some point, and my timing has always been bad. I mean, I don't even think it has to be the whole conversation. I don't even think you have to frame it as in, let's have that conversation. Even if you just write them a letter and do it that way, maybe that will take a little bit of the pressure off. But just share that, and then allow the conversation to just flow back into a natural state of how you guys would typically communicate. Because I can totally understand that. That's how my dad was too. Metal marks is the thing we sometimes don't realize the impact we have on another person, even if it's a small gesture. Yep. Oh, Kevin says, hi, everyone. Just subscribed early this morning and first time in the group chat. Jonathan, remember that you have all of us. We are always here in your corner. Welcome. And I'm glad you're already sharing so much love, Kevin. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, I'm about to jump off. So we start at 10. I usually go for about an hour. So unfortunately, I'm about to jump off. But like I said, I will be on here again. Let's see, what day is that exactly? So it'll be the 19th. So I'll be here again on the 19th unless something changes. But expect me here on the 19th, where I will have Lori Bischoff with me, and she will be answering some questions and giving some insights as a master life coach. So I'm very excited for you guys to meet her. She's kind of a mom figure to me. So I'm excited for you guys to meet her. Make sure that think of some questions in advance, because this is a really awesome opportunity. She has a book that is been really, really helpful to me. That's just stop complaining, stop whining. It's been very helpful to me. But yeah, I'm very excited to share that with you. I'm very excited to have you guys be a part of that. So make sure to stay tuned. Watch the community page. I do post the wins for the community, or I post the to ask for the wins of the community, and that has the time on it. So I will see you guys in a couple of weeks. I'm just so excited. Yes, I'm sorry we didn't get to chat more, Kevin. I hope you do come back to the next one so we can get to know you a little more. But I can see that you're going to bring a lot of positive energy to the channel. So I will see you guys soon.